Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So the recent short time frame price action on Bitcoin has placed the entire cryptocurrency market on the edge of a cliff. In fact, there are warning signs across all the charts and Bitcoin could be in for a really huge week. We're going to dive into the video today to talk about this metaphorical cliff, what the fall could mean, and otherwise what we need to see to safely prevent it. Before we dive in, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Wednesday and Saturday. And join my free Telegram if you're after even more regular updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in my VIP channel, today is the last day of our anniversary sale where you can get up to 30% off your membership. So make sure you message me on Telegram if you want access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alrighty guys, so diving into the charts, as we can see here, Bitcoin had a little bit of an overnight correction. We had a fake out of our downtrend here, rejecting off the 200 EMA, and then crashing all the way down 3% to 93,300. Now, if we take a look at the 4-hour candle close, Bitcoin did manage to actually close above sell-side liquidity here, thereby preventing a continued correction down to 91. And we have since seen quite a bit of a bounce, printing the most recent 4-hour candle close as a bullish engulfing candle. If we take a look at market data, we can see we did have a little spike in liquidations. I think a total of $300 million in liquidations yesterday. But as we can see, since 24-hour volume is creeping back up, open interest is still a little down, but funding rates are slowly coming back up. Now, despite the fact that we've seen a little bit of a bounce, sorry, my knuckle just cracked, let's talk about why so far it's not really enough. And actually this crash has printed a lot of warning signs across the charts from Bitcoin on both the high time frame and actually the short time frame charts as well. So let's dive in and talk about all that across total 3 and total as well. So starting off on the higher time frame charts, let's define and talk about the sort of metaphorical cliff that the crypto market and Bitcoin is sitting on. So over here on a weekly time frame, we can see very clearly that for the last 3 months of price action, Bitcoin's been traveling within this sort of weekly range, right? Starting at the base at 93,500 being the close for the weekly low, and ending at the top being the close for the weekly high at 104.5 thousand. Now, the most recent short time frame correction on Bitcoin has created this sort of red candle over here, first of all, but also it went on to retest the base of that weekly range. And on the short time frame, if we continue to see bearish price action, that could send Bitcoin below that sell-side liquidity in the short time frame at 93,800, which also coincides with the base of the weekly range, and into $91,000, the next available level of support. And if we close there, that would also mean that we have seen a breakdown of the weekly range, and thereby leading to a higher time frame bearish continuation. So this is a huge weekly candle to be watching out for. We've still got 5 days left. So there's still time to, I guess, sort of change the narrative here. But as of right now, what it's printing isn't necessarily good. And if we take a look at the RSI as well, we can see momentum is still very much down on the weekly time frame. We haven't managed to break out of that downtrend. And until we do that as well, the overall high time frame charts are still sort of yet to become bullish. Now, if we take a look at what that fall could mean, if we crash below or have that sort of weekly breakdown, the first level that we have, of course, is $89,000 beyond 91K support. That's our sell-side liquidity, right? And below that, if we close below $89,000, we have a very large volume gap here on the charts. That takes Bitcoin down to $73,000, the next level of significance here, right? Which is a really huge correction. Of course, we might form a higher low and, bounce at an earlier stage, but it's still a very risky position to be in once the sort of weekly charts fall below these crucial levels of support. Moving over onto the daily time frame, we can see something equally concerning. So the recent correction from Bitcoin has led the RSI to go back down and almost retest this equal low level at 41.18. And that's important because over the last month and a half, as Bitcoin has been sort of consolidating / chopping within this sort of range here, we have started to see an exhaustion of selling pressure, right? An inability to push the RSI below 41.18 suggests that the selling pressure experienced throughout the range is slowly exhausting. Higher lows express that it's being absorbed by the buyers as well, and we're sort of waiting for that bullish momentum shift and momentum to feel positive to signal that Bitcoin is about to have a high time frame break and a move up to test the top of the range. However, before we see that break, if we see 41.18 broken down from instead, that suggests that instead of bottoming out over here, we are going to experience a continued bearish correction. Selling pressure is increasing, and it is more likely then that we break down from the weekly range. Again, providing more confluence for that sort of warning that we're seeing on the weekly charts, where if we fall below 91.18 and close below that sort of weekly range, we are very likely to experience continued bearish corrections on the high time frames. So clearly, guys, Bitcoin is in quite a strenuous position, and that is actually reflected across the entire cryptocurrency market as well. So starting off on total, we can see that over the last 3 months, total has been just hovering above this crucial level of support, or the, I guess, prior all-time high here at 3.07 trillion. And over the last 2 weeks, we have begun to test that range of support, right? Particularly the week before last, on the week ending the 3rd of February, when we had that really, really massive crash, billions of dollars in liquidations, is when we saw this huge flush down to test the base of that support at 2.182, right? We want to make sure that this level is held on the high time frame to prevent a continued I guess, massive macro bearish correction from Bitcoin and altcoins as well. Moving on to total 3, again, we can see another really crucial level of support being tested on total 3 on the altcoin market cap at $850 billion as well. That is the dead cat bounce sort of level. If we move over onto the weekly chart, we can see how in the prior sort of bull run, we had obviously the all-time high, and then we had this dead cat bounce of here, right? Where, you know, in the midst of a bear market, we have a little bit of a rally, and that rally ends and ultimately leads to a continued macro bearish correction. Now, on both Bitcoin and total 3, that level goes on to become a macro bullish trigger, where breaking above, we tend to see a rally to at least test the prior all-time high, which is exactly what we did here on both Bitcoin and total 3. And we definitely do not want to see this level lost on the weekly chart, because once again, that signals a very high time frame bearish correction. That signals the top, basically, right? For total 3. It's very unlikely then, weekly closing below this level, that, you know, altcoins are suddenly going to go parabolic after that. So with all of that in mind, we clearly have some really, really important short time frame price action coming up on Bitcoin, because what's going to happen here over the next couple of days is going to determine potentially a lot for weeks and months to come on the high time frame charts. So let's dive into the 4-hour time frame and take a look at what's developing here on the short time frame. So off the bat, guys, I won't really lie, it's not looking all that great. Right, let's start off by talking about our key supports and resistances. So on the short time frame, our current most important level of support is right here at $95,000. We can see it acting as a base of support consistently in the past over the last couple of weeks. And we have the end of that, or the end of the liquidity range for that support at 93,900, the same level we tested in the most recent correction, and that was formed on this close over here on the sort of range low on the 3rd of February. Now, if we take a look at the structure developing here, quickly, key resistance, $100,000, the top of our daily chart range over here, right? Where in breaking above and establishing support on 100K, you know, Bitcoin starts to really flip bullish once again. So zooming back to the 4-hour chart, we take a look at how the price action has been developing over the last, couple of weeks, 2 weeks. We can see that we have consistently, despite multiple attempts and bounces from these levels of support here, been forming these lower highs on the charts. We are in some sort of quite clear downtrend here on the 4-hour time frame, even though we haven't really got a lot of confluence points and points of contact for this short time frame downtrend. And if we invert the chart for a second, we can see what that structure kind of looks like, right? It looks like a descending triangle. This is inverted, so this looks ascending. But in the past, generally these structures tend to lead to a breakdown or absorption of that horizontal level, which means in this case a breakdown from support. And the measured move of these triangle patterns is generally the height of the triangle from the very start, and if we apply that to the horizontal level as the breakdown point, that actually takes Bitcoin well below sell side liquidity at $85,000. Now, is this move 100% going to happen? Absolutely not. No measured moves and structural breakdowns are absolute, of course. But we have a very clear sort of warning sign developing here on the charts, where as support begins to, get retested to a point where the sellers are able to absorb through that wall, we're very likely then to see a breakdown. Now that breakdown is first going to take us to the base of, I guess, the daily chart range, and the lowest level of support that we have retested consistently on the higher time frame being $91,000. Beyond that, like I talked about on the weekly time frame, we have $89,000. That is sell side liquidity. And then, of course, that is the most crucial level for us to be holding on the daily and the weekly time frame as well. But essentially, the key trigger for the start of that correction is going to be a loss of this level. So if we create another lower low against this and we close below 93,300, the end of that wick there, we're very likely to have then also lost this horizontal support and are headed in for the start of that correction. Now, before we get all doom and gloom, of course, we need to talk about invalidations, right? What's going to safely prevent the start of this bearish move and potential retest of $91,000, which could lead to then that bearish weekly candle close. So on the short time frame here, let's go back to a regular chart. We can see that what we need to do is then invalidate this structural formation of lower lows on the charts. So we need to first of all break above the structural downtrend that we have here on the 4-hour time frame, but also above the prior high in that downtrend, which guess where is $100,000. So if Bitcoin is able to recover, break out of this structure here and push above $100,000, that would invalidate this pattern completely. We form a higher high, right, and potentially enter a short time frame bullish trajectory instead, with the first target on the short time frame then being the range high for this downtrend at $102.5 thousand. Alrighty guys, that is a wrap on the analysis today. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. If you guys liked the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And join my free Telegram channel for more regular updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in my VIP channel, don't forget to contact me on Telegram for more details. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!